Imagine walking down a street you've been on 1,000 times before, but suddenly everything feels different. The buildings, the people, even the year, it all seems to have changed. Could it be that you've stepped into a parallel universe? Or perhaps you've slipped back in time? Today, we're diving into mind-bending stories of people who claim to have experienced just that. Real-life glimpses into alternate realities, including the famous Bold Street time slips in Liverpool. Buckle up because this is going to blow your mind. Welcome back to the channel. Today's topic will make you question the very nature of reality. We're talking about parallel universes, time slips, and multidimensional experiences, phenomena that science is still grappling to understand. But here's the kicker: these aren't just theories. People claim to have lived through these experiences, sometimes completely by accident. One of the most famous locations tied to these phenomena is Bold Street in Liverpool. Many people report stepping into different times, encountering people and places from decades in the past as if they've walked straight into a portal. Sounds crazy? Let's get into some real stories and explore whether this is just imagination or a peek into a parallel world. Bold Street in Liverpool has become known for several accounts of time slips, as we discussed earlier. Bold Street might look like any other bustling street, but for some, it's a hotspot for strange occurrences. In fact, a series of incidents have left both locals and tourists wondering if they momentarily stepped back in time. Let's start with one of the most well-known cases, a former police officer named Frank. Back in 1996, Frank and his wife were out shopping on Bold Street. While his wife entered a bookshop, Frank found himself suddenly transported. In a blink, he noticed the modern cars were gone, replaced by old-fashioned models from the 1950s. The people walking by were dressed in vintage clothes, and the shops looked straight out of a history book. He even saw a store that hadn't existed in decades. Confused but not panicked, Frank tried to shake it off, but the moment was too real. It wasn't just a passing daydream. Everything around him had transformed. As quickly as it happened, he was pulled back to the present, standing on the same street as if nothing had changed. But that eerie encounter left a lasting impression, one he couldn't explain. Was this a glitch in the fabric of time, or did Frank momentarily step into a parallel universe? And Frank's story isn't the only one. There's another account from a woman named Imogen, who had a similar experience just a few years later. While shopping on Bold Street, she noticed that everything seemed older. People were wearing clothes from the 1940s, and the stores were different, including one named Cripps, a store that no longer existed at the time of her experience. Like Frank, her surroundings suddenly shifted back to normal after a few minutes. Could this street in Liverpool be a portal between different times? Or is it evidence of parallel universes briefly overlapping, allowing people to witness a different version of our world for just a moment? But Bold Street isn't the only place where people experience these time anomalies. In fact, there are accounts from all over the world. There are numerous intriguing accounts of people who claim to have experienced parallel universes or time slips. One of the most famous stories of a possible parallel universe occurred in 1954 at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. A man arrived on a flight with a passport from a country that didn't exist, Taured. When questioned by airport officials, the man was confused, insisting that Taured was a real country and had existed for over 1,000 years. His passport seemed genuine, complete with stamps from various countries. Officials detained him in a secure room while they investigated. But by the next morning, he had mysteriously disappeared, along with all his documents. Some believe this man may have slipped through from an alternate reality where Taured exists. Lorena Garcia, a Spanish woman, believes she woke up one day in a parallel universe. In 2008, Garcia claimed that when she got out of bed one morning, small, strange differences started appearing in her life. She noticed that her bed sheets were different from what she remembered, and her workplace seemed different. But the most unsettling difference was that her long-term partner was no longer in her life. She had no recollection of a breakup, yet he seemed to have never existed in this version of reality. She even claimed that certain events in her past were now completely different, leading her to believe she had somehow switched timelines overnight. In 1979, two English couples were on a road trip through France when they decided to stop for the night. They found a quaint, old-fashioned hotel with wooden beams, an iron bed, and no modern amenities like phones or elevators. The couples enjoyed their stay, but when they tried to return to the hotel on their way back, it was nowhere to be found. Locals told them no such hotel had ever existed in the area. They even developed photos they had taken during their stay, but none of the pictures of the hotel or its surroundings appeared in the film. This led the couples to believe they may have stayed in a hotel from another time or reality. These stories, while not scientifically proven, provide a fascinating look into what might be glimpses of parallel universes or alternate timelines. Whether they are psychological phenomena, glitches in perception, or genuine peeks into other realities, they keep the mystery of parallel worlds alive in popular culture. Could these stories of time slips be a case of one universe colliding with another? Or perhaps we're tapping into alternate realities for brief moments. What's fascinating is that many people who experience these phenomena don't just report seeing another time, they feel it. The atmosphere, the energy, even the air itself changes. Are these just vivid hallucinations? Or is it possible that the walls between different timelines and realities are thinner than we think? Physicists and cosmologists have long debated the existence of parallel universes. Some believe that our universe is just one of many, part of a larger multiverse. This means that for every decision, every event, there's another universe where something different happens. In modern times, theoretical physicists like Stephen Hawking, Brian Greene, and Michio Kaku have explored the possibility of a multiverse, a vast collection of universes, each with its own laws of physics, histories, and even timelines. Some of these ideas stem from string theory, which aims to unify quantum mechanics and general relativity. String theory suggests that our universe could be one of many brains, short for membranes, floating in a higher dimensional space, where parallel universes might exist just beyond our reach, separated by only a thin veil of space and time. Whether these stories are real glimpses into parallel universes or just elaborate tricks of the mind, one thing is clear. We still know so little about the true nature of time and reality. Who knows? The next time you step outside, you might find yourself in a world that's not quite your own. What do you think? Are these stories proof of parallel universes? I had my own experience with what might have been a parallel universe or time slip at an airport in Spain. After leaving the transfer coach to use the restroom inside the terminal, I returned to find the coach had completely disappeared. I retraced my steps multiple times, going in and out of the airport, but the coach was nowhere in sight. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, it finally reappeared. If you enjoyed today's dive into the mysterious world of parallel universes, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more mind-bending content. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep questioning reality.